I'm going to share my thought process about the black women choosing a white man over a white woman at the office. I'm going to start with my initial reaction, which I no longer have, and then go into where I'm at now, because I want to talk to other white women like this about that process. And if where I'm at now is still problematic, happy to have a discussion. I have heard black women say, to me about other white women, and probably hinting to me that it is white women's job to turn white men around. What I heard was that's another thing I'm being held responsible for that he isn't. And I didn't say it. I was just like, okay. And I had to sit on it and chew on it, because I knew enough to know that I needed to listen, but I did not understand at first. Because when you live with misogyny, there is, all right, I already do more at home, right, than he does. I'm already doing more at work, more emotional labor, more additional labor than he is. I'm already considered bitchy for saying things the same way when I'm in a leadership role that he doesn't. So is this another situation where if I do something, there's that internalized sexism that's influencing where he's just still seen as more likable, because that's just how misogyny works? And I heard things like, white men look to white women for approval. They look at them like their mothers. When I'm thinking, I intentionally did not have a relationship for 3 years because I was so sick of men looking for their mothers. I was like, you think he listens to me? I can't get the mofo to wash his hands. Where I've reframed and learned more is that where in a lot of heterosexual dynamics or even workplace dynamics, white men may not listen to white women over other white men, but what I have learned is that they will pick our side, in many cases, not all, over a person of color, particularly another woman of color. Because in a way, our shared womanhood is a little bit of permission. You see what I mean? How often do you hear people say, oh, she's not a misogynist, she's a woman? She can totally be a misogynist. That's a belief, not a person. The most horrifying example of this that I can think of isn't work relevant, but it's the one that really changed America, is the Emmett Till story. A group of white men unaliving a 14-year-old black child because he allegedly whistled at the white woman, who she later recanted and said he never even whistled at her. She just said that to her husband, and he was one of the men who unalived him. Now, how we have a role in white men swooping in under our influence to harm a person of color is when we're at work and things like, in a much less violent way, hopefully, is when white women do not have an issue with a person of color, usually a black woman, and don't talk to them about it directly, and instead go behind their back and go up the chain to the white man manager and then very nicely put it on his radar that it's a problem. And she never got the other woman never got any feedback, and now she looks like a problem to leadership, when for any other person they probably would have just told them directly. I'm at the point in my life right now where I realize the only thing I have control over is me, and I don't want to live in a system where anyone has that much control over anyone anyway. I don't have control over white men. I have control over me. And if everyone's busy pointing fingers at other people and saying, well, they do it worse, well, they do it worse, well, they do it worse, nothing is better for any of us. I think of this as similar to when we talk about women's issues to men. White women to white men, something that men in my family have said to me many times is, well, it's not as bad as for women in Saudi Arabia. And it's okay, so that's the bar? If we keep just pointing elsewhere, we can't work on our shit. And so that's how I interpret the white men versus white women situation of, I gotta handle my own shit.